This is Boom Bust, the one business show you can't afford to miss. I'm Brent Jabor in Washington. Coming up, following Bitcoin's latest run to an all-time high, the world's most popular cryptocurrency faces a minor correction. Straight ahead, we're going to look at the roller coaster week and what we can expect in 2021. Plus, tech industry workers are making a major step as some Google employees have unionized. Later on, we're going to bring you up to speed on the move and whether this could be a larger trend in the tech sector. And later on, the tensions between the United States and China are chilling even further as several Chinese telecom firms will be delisted from the New York Stock Exchange. We have a packed show today, so let's dive right in. And we lead the program with an incredible weekend for cryptocurrencies, specifically Bitcoin, as the world's largest cryptocurrency hit an all-time record high of over $34,000. Now, by Monday, that number had fallen back to around 31,000, but still leaves Bitcoin at record highs. And those numbers are also causing a huge push for altcoins. Joining me now to break it all down is Jeffrey Tucker, the editorial director for the American Institute of Economic Research, and Boom Bust co-host and cryptocurrency analyst Ben Swan. Always great to have both of you on, especially on this specific topic. Now, Jeffrey, I can see you're chomping at the bit, ready to go. So I want to start with you. Obviously, it was a great weekend for Bitcoin. What do you expect to see happen with Bitcoin over the course of this year?
Well, my prediction was wrong. I had predicted 30K by the spring and then a quick fall back to 17K. So I did not expect 30K by the beginning of this new year. And I'm a little bit surprised that the numbers have not fallen further. When you said minor correction, you're right. It is minor, and presumably if the prices hold above 25K, I think it suggests something fundamental has changed in the markets. It could be new institutional investors. I think that's a very easy explanation. But more than that, I think we're dealing here with a new kind of philosophical credulity that Bitcoin has picked up in the year 2020 when governments have failed so miserably, so badly. And we can't forget that Bitcoin has not just a technological element, but also an ideological, philosophical element that expresses more confidence in markets and innovation than in governments and their financial institutions and central banks that they support. And I think what we're seeing this year is a realization, at the end of the year, a realization that Bitcoin performed very, very well this year in the midst of the most egregious downturn in our lifetimes and during terrible lockdowns. And that's impressing many people and institutions.
So Jeffrey, quickly, do you believe that we're going to stay around this point and we're not going to drop further back to that 17,000 point where you said previously?
Yeah, well, here's the problem. I've been watching these markets since, pretty closely since 2012, and the pattern has been these enormous bursts up and then a pullback, and that's that point the world press says, "Oh, look, Bitcoin is dead," and so I would have expected to see a lot more selling pressure than we're seeing. So I'm careful right now about expecting it to fall back. As I said, I think that the floor of 17K would be the new floor, but I'm just not seeing evidence yet that's going to be it. Now, what we could do is see a little bit of a parking of value at 30K for a few months, and then either tumble or then go up. But I think we're going to start to see some big moves in that direction in 2021. Somebody asked me this morning, it's like, is now a good time to buy? Well, it's not my place to say whether you should buy or not, but I will tell you that if you get in these markets, patience is your friend, and don't be downloading those apps, that ping you every 90 minutes in the middle of the night to tell you what the new prices are so you can lust over your new riches or whine over your new poverty. Just hold on and enjoy it. You've got to have a philosophical commitment to be in this market. And
definitely no telling you to buy or not here, but it's definitely not as good a time to buy as it was maybe 2 months ago.
That's
or a year ago.
Ben, we mentioned at the beginning of this latest rally is helping altcoins as well. What can you tell us about that?
Yeah, I mean, that's absolutely true. If you want to talk about getting into the market, you don't get in with Bitcoin at this point. You get in with altcoins. I mean, those are also, by the way, seeing a real rise. Ethereum is now right around or just under $1,000. It's the highest it's been since February of 2018. We're talking about over the last 7 days, it's increased in value by 36%. Litecoin, similarly, right now, I think they're just under $150 a Litecoin, and that's the highest it's been in some time as well. And we're talking about an increase there, about 12%. Bitcoin Cash is up. So there are a lot of different altcoins out there that are on the rise as well. I think what we're seeing right now is the difference in Bitcoin and altcoins, guys, is the difference between retail investors and institutional investors. The institutional investors, we've been talking about this for at least a year, are the ones who are pushing the increase in volume and purchase supply of Bitcoin. That has been going on for some time. And I've been predicting this part as well, which is that once you see these new record highs for Bitcoin, now all of a sudden retail investors, especially in places like South Korea and in China, where there is a huge interest in altcoins and in Bitcoin, you're going to see more retail investors who say, oh man, I want to get in on this before it goes away. The problem is Bitcoin becomes too expensive for a lot of people, and so they start looking at the altcoins, and I think that's why we're seeing more altcoins rise. The retail market will drive the altcoins at this point. The institutional money is what is driving Bitcoin at this point.
And to Ben's point, Jeffrey, is that more institutional money than retail? Is that a good or a bad thing for Bitcoin at this point?
Well, I would say it's sort of an inevitable thing. And by the way, to Ben's point, if I could just say something, there are people out there who believe that there's some sort of zero-sum game going on here. That's like, all the gains for Bitcoin come at the expense of the altcoins, and so that's ridiculous. There are about 10 altcoins out there that are quite impressive, and 10 million, the equivalent of penny stocks. And if you look at the progress of their market valuation, it more or less tracks Bitcoin in terms of the release date and the robustness of the network. So I think Ben's right. This is a good time to be looking at some of these other coins, and so there's nothing surprising about this. And so if you go on Twitter, you're going to get all the maximalists, denouncing you and that sort of thing. Again, thinking with intelligence and clarity, there will be competition in the crypto sector. That's with us now, and it's going to continue.
And now, Ben, I got to look into that crystal ball on Bitcoin. Catherine Coley, the CEO of major crypto exchange Binance's U.S. arm, sees the current Bitcoin bull run as a sign that the crypto assets could reach a price of up to $100,000. Now, do you believe that she's right? And would that actually be a good or bad thing for Bitcoin at this point?
Yeah, at some point, I think that certainly could be the case. And the reason for that is because people have to remember that Bitcoin has a fixed supply. There are no more Bitcoins that will ever be produced beyond its maximum capacity. So unlike fiat dollars, Bitcoin does have a limit. And so I think the value will continue to go up over time. Also, a lot of the folks who are in Bitcoin right now are in it for the long term. Jeffrey started out by talking about that. It's an important point because when we saw the real dip, the crash, if you will, of Bitcoin in 2018, it was because of the retail investors who got scared. They saw it dropping and everybody was trying to get out of it because they didn't have a long-term vision. Now, I'm sure 100% of them are regretting having made that decision instead of just sticking it out for a measly 2-3 years, and all of a sudden now Bitcoin is worth 10 times what it was worth at its lowest point in 2018. So just think about that for a minute. But I do think what we are going to see is, yes, Bitcoin's going to continue to go up, but I think we're going to see an evening out. It is not a zero-sum game. That is correct. And we're going to see an evening out across altcoins because you have to remember that Bitcoin, the primary value of it is in technology, and there's a lot of coins out there that provide technological answers that blockchain can provide.
Ben Swan, Boombust co-host, and Jeffrey Tucker of the American Institute for Economic Research. Thank you both for breaking this down for us today.
You got it.